dilations. Our surgeon had told us that for her, the method of home dilations with the rods that get progressively bigger was outdated. She said nobody's doing it anymore, and medical stretching is the way to go. So I was extremely skeptical because on the online communities with all of the other moms in the similar timing and situation as my daughter, were doing home dilations, and I only remembered one other mom, or I'd heard of one other mom who said they were doing surgical dilations in Australia. So I was nervous, and I ended up reaching out to any doctor I could find who had published any article ever about imperforated anus, to ask basically their opinion. What do you think of medical stretches versus home? And shockingly, almost every doctor I wrote me back, and I saw a big difference in ages in responses of the surgeon. So kind of the younger, more modern surgeons were more interested by the medical stretching, and the older ones were like, no, there are way more advantages to the dilations at home. The slow and progressive way prevents scar tissue and it has a lot of benefits. And so I was nervously trusting my doctor on this one. And we had my daughter go in for her first stretch. It was a one-day procedure, about a 30-minute surgery. So we had to stay overnight, do a whole prep like it was for her larger surgeries. She went in, she had the medical stretch. We spent a few hours in the post-op recovery. She had it under anesthesia. A few hours in post-op recovery. Then we spent one more night just while she was under observation in the surgery recovery floor, and then we were home. And that one was quite easy. It's always like really stressful when they're under anesthesia, and I think the controversy medically comes in as to the long-term effects of repeatedly putting an infant under anesthesia, as opposed to the overall outcome. I think in the end the outcome's quite the same between surgical stretches and stretches at home, if I understood. Of course, you might have more information than I do, but with the information I had at the time, with the understanding I had at the time, that's what I thought to be true. And so my daughter had her first stretch, and then the second stretch, they actually decided, because the first one went so well and everything was looking great, they decided they could do the second stretch at the same time as closure. So she only actually had one additional mini surgery under anesthesia, and then for her last surgery, she had both stretch and closure at the same time. So that is our experience with dilations. So far, how my daughter is doing post-closure is she had low imperforated anus, and she has not struggled at all with constipation. There's a few times where we notice things are getting a little bit on the harder side, so we will give her prunes or extra fruit, or try and get her to drink tons of water. So we treat it through food, and that's so far the longest she's gone is a day and a half without any evacuation. She has been checked twice by an ultrasound to see if she has backups, and so far we're super lucky because she has not had any issues with backups. So no constipation, no backups, and she's going to the washroom about between 3 to 10 times a day. It really depends on the day, and I don't know at this, she's only one, so I don't know how much control she has. I do know from time to time she makes faces, and I'm sure that she's going to the washroom when she's making that face. But then there's other times where she'll sneeze and it will just come out, and I think that doesn't give a good indication for control. So, but I don't remember with my son if that happened, basically because I never had to think about it. It was such a gift to just have a completely healthy first child.